Chalo, we'll start now because meanwhile others can join in between. Uh, see, first of all, let me extend again welcome to all the participants who have joined for this Zoom session. You may be knowing that this is third Zoom session pertaining to philosophy optional. In first, we discussed introductory things regarding philosophy optional, and we also discussed one topic of the philosophy of religion, problem of evil. Uh, Second, we discussed the model answer pertaining to the question of problem of evil. And then we started Western philosophy, first chapter, that is Greek philosophy. We discussed Plato on that day. Today, we propose to discuss Aristotle. So today we will be completing that Greek philosophy. Uh, we will also, but before that, we will discuss regarding the model answer, which we gave uh, last week pertaining to Plato. Uh, the regarding writing of model answers, I have already told in first class also certain parameters uh, which any participant, any student, any examinee should remember while writing the answers. So today we will see, first we will see those parameters on which a model answer needs to be written, just for a revision, because already earlier I have discussed. And then we will see how the model answer pertaining to Plato uh, is of that standard, and how it is equal to the parameters prescribed which we are defining. So now let us start with the uh, parameters or the guidelines which we can follow for writing the model answers, and then we will discuss the model answer of the Plato question last week, and then we will go to the Aristotle topics, various topics pertaining to Aristotle. So we will just, I will share the document pertaining to that. Let me see. Okay, see, let me first come to the uh, guidelines for writing model answers, which I have already discussed earlier also, but again, just I want to discuss because that is important. Uh, just let me go through that. Okay. See, okay. So these are indicative instructions, because certain other things you may add to that. This already earlier I have described. So particularly, I mean, all this will also depend on whether, I mean, how many words we have to write the answer. For example, introduction, main body, and conclusion. The length of each of these parts will depend number of words prescribed for that answer. So this is very important because unnecessary introduction we cannot prolong if we have limited number of words to write. For example, 150 words answer, we cannot write more than one line or one phrase or something like that. So basically, these three parts are main as far as the answer is concerned. Now, I told that day also that in practice we will be practicing for little more number of words because we tend to forget also certain things which we and we have to reproduce also the points mainly in the actual exam. So therefore, we are in our practice sessions we will be having little larger number of words so that our answer, particularly in the exam, will be correctly presented. One more point was that suppose sometimes we prepare for 150 word question, but actually the question is asked for 300 words, or we prepare for 300 word question and it is asked for 150 words. So that also we should understand how to expand that and how to make it brief. So therefore, our preparation has to be like that. That's what point I have written. Model answer should be flexible enough to be adopted to different word limits in the actual examination. Now, how we will organize and present? Numbered points, paragraphs, or bullet points have to be there, definitely. Then multi-dimensional approach. I keep on telling that you have to compare with Indian and Western philosophers, uh, their views on that topic. Then comparison with different philosophers of the same. For example, in Western philosophy, if we are reading the Western philosophy, what is the view of rationalist? What is the view of empiricist? So like that, we have to do. And then modern scientific and technological developments also we have to take into account. Uh, Critical evaluation of a particular topic or the particular answer should be in the second last paragraph. Last paragraph should be basically what is the evaluation of the whole thing. Uh, the answer should be clear, logical, well structured, using headings and subheadings wherever required. It's not compulsory, but wherever it's required. Highlight or underline key terms. So while actual writing the answer, you will be highlighting or underlining the important phrases or words. But what we have done in actual answer in my presentation, we have made it bold. I mean, whichever words have to be highlighted or underlined have been made bold, so that you can understand like that. Then inclusion of philosophers and their quotations or names of the philosopher. Because suppose if you are quoting some philosopher, you have to write the name of that person, whether it is Indian philosophy, Western philosophy, or any other topic. Uh, Use of technical terms and keywords to demonstrate a nuanced understanding of philosophical. This is very important because if you write in very simple language, that also will not going to help. So technical words and terms have to be used. I keep on telling that please go through some good philosophy, dictionary of philosophy to understand those terms and also try to use those terms whenever required in the actual exam. Then support the arguments with examples to illustrate the ideas and improve comprehension. Maintain a balanced approach. See, suppose we have our some personal views also. We should not. In the answer, we should not be obsessed with our personal views, and we should not keep on just emphasizing that. So our approach has to be balanced. If you are criticizing some idea or some thought, then there is some positive points also we have to note and we have to write accordingly. Then ensure coherence and logical progression. This is very important because answer has to be haphazard. We cannot write. We have to progress from one idea to other. We have to basically see that our whole thing is a very logically structured answer. So I mean this is I told in first class also, and now also I just want to say this we have to follow. Now let me explain on these parameters how, I mean, what was the question which we second week question. The second week we told explain Plato's theory of forms. Does it entail a kind of essentialism? Now, this is the question. Usually, if question comes for 20 marks, which I am, in my opinion, if this kind of question is there, then it will have 20 marks. So 20 marks, if it comes, so roughly 300 to 400 words you have to write. So therefore, I have given 400 words, and this is a question for 20 marks. But if the same question comes for, let us say, 10 marks or 15 marks, then accordingly you have to reduce or you have to condense the whole thing. So the question is, again, I will repeat, Plato's theory, explain Plato's theory of forms. Does it entail a kind of essentialism? Now, this was the question. Now, what can be the model answer for this? Because we have already gone through the guidelines for the writing answers, and we have also uh, uh, seen the earlier questions and answers also. So accordingly, let us see what can be the answer for this. So this is what I have prepared. I will just show you. See, this is a model answer for Plato. I explain Plato's theory of forms. Does it entail a kind of essentialism? This is roughly about 400 to 450 words answer, uh, which can be condensed depending on how to condense. Last time I also saw, I have also shown the problem of evil question. I first explained the whole thing in 500 words and then 150 words or 160 words also. So accordingly, this I mean, any answer has to be, I mean, you should have ability to reduce it or expand it depending on the requirement. So you see, what is the Plato's theory of forms, and does it entail a kind of essentialism? So first we have to explain the theory, then we have to tell whether it is essentialism or not, and then comparative analysis, critical evaluation, all those things we have to do. As you, I mean, we explained in the last class, Plato's theory of forms is basically, I mean, he has given a theory that a word is merely an appearance of some actual form or perfect forms which are unchanging and away from this physical word. So, for example, what Plato says, uh, all physical horses are imperfect copies of form of horse. uh, he says that form of good is the highest form. And he also explained, I mean, we also, last class, we have also explained allegory of cave, where prisoners mistake shadows on the wall for reality, just as humans mistake physical objects for true reality. So for Plato, true reality is form. Plato's theory of forms basically distinguishes between word, which is, I mean, appearance word and real word. So, word of appearances and word of reality. For Plato, the word of reality is the realm of forms. According to Plato, physical word is merely a shadow of a higher, unchanging realm of perfect forms. So, this is basically theory of form in brief. Plato's theory of form, which we have explained. Here, because we have to write in a different way, so we are not expanding this whole thing in a very elaborate way. So briefly, we have described what is theory of forms, and now whether it is essentialism or not, that we have to understand. Now, what is essentialism? Basically, essentialism is that uh, things have an inherent essence defining what they truly are. So basically, uh, I mean, the physical world or the things which are being presented in the world are different, and actual essence of those things is different, which is theory, I mean, which is the realm of forms as described by Plato. So, so what we want to say is Plato's theory of forms entails essentialism. Yes, it is a kind of essentialism. So this is what we are saying. And the idea that things have an inherent essence of defining what they truly are. In Republic is written by Plato, you may be knowing very well. He extends this to human nature also, arguing that people are born with fixed abilities and roles. Plato's concept of philosopher kings, if some of you are a student of political science, you may be knowing very well. He advocated last week also, we told that he advocated the idea of philosopher kings. So basically, he not only the things, but he extended this theory of forms to human nature also, because there are three kinds of human beings, philosophers, then workers, and then others. So basically, are meant to rule, warriors are to protect, and laborers to work. So these are three kinds of the human beings or human nature which founded. Now, what can be the criticism of this idea? Because this is what we have written. Yes, Plato's theory of forms, we have explained. We have also told, yes, it entails a kind of essentialism. Now, what is the criticism? What are the comparative analysis and other things we will understand now? See, Aristotle was disciple of Plato, you know very well. So Aristotle himself rejected the theory of forms. He told, he argued that essence exists with within the objects themselves, and it's not that both are separate. What Plato told, forms are separate and objects are separate. That is, essence is separate and actual physical object is different. This is what Plato told. What Aristotle told, both essence and forms are together. It's not, both are not separate. So he gave a theory of hylomorphism. Hylomorphism is that matter and form are together basically. So they are not separate entities. Similarly, if Indian philosophy you want to draw the parallels, so Nagarjuna, a Buddhist philosopher, he gave a theory. He denied the essentialism entirely. His doctrine of sunyata argued that all things exist only in relation to other things without any fixed essence. This is what Buddhism told. I mean, when we study Buddhism, because Buddhism, or we are also going to study after Western philosophy, we will come to Indian philosophy. So we'll go with Buddhism, Advaita Vedanta, Jainism, and all those things. But for the time being, you can understand that Nagarjuna or Buddhists have criticized this theory, and they have given another theory that essentialism is not correct, and they have given the doctrine of Shunyata. Advaita Vedanta, you know, Shankaracharya, the word is Maya, that is illusion. So this equates to Plato's theory, because Plato also told that word is an illusion. Basically, word is not the real thing. Real thing is forms which are separate from the physical objects. But unlike Plato, so part of the Advaita Vedanta resembles Plato, but part of it says that Brahm, ultimate reality, is not dual, meaning that no form separate from existence. So part of it is, I mean, equivalent to Plato, part of it is not there. What are modern critics they are saying? Wittgenstein, he says he has rejected the fixed essences, proposing family resemblance. Now, once you study Wittgenstein, you will understand that he has given a theory of family resemblances in Western philosophy itself. There is one chapter on him, early and later Wittgenstein. So instead of, so he says that concepts do not have a single defining essence, but are linked by overlapping similarities. That is, in a family, I mean, family, there are several characters. It's not that only single defining essence, but there are several characters which overlap each other. Sartre, one of the existentialists, he says, I mean, he denies the humans have a fixed nature, arguing that existence precedes essence. Now, existence precedes essence, you may be knowing, is already a very important quote, and it sometimes questions have come on this also. So this is given by Sartre. He says that existence precedes essence, and it's not that essence is something as described by the Plato. What are the scientific rebuttals? So this is modern criticism. This is Aristotle and Indian philosophy. Now, what are the scientific rebuttals? Modern science also undermines Plato's essentialism. Darwin's theory of evolution shows that species change over time, contradicting the idea of eternal forms. So this is again an important thing, because modern science also is not supporting what Plato told. Quantum mechanics suggests reality is probabilistic, not fixed and unchanging. Similarly, neuroscience reveals that perception is constructed by brain, challenging the idea that we access pure objective form. So these are modern theories which are not in tune with what Plato enunciated in his theory of forms. Now, what is conclusion basically? How we'll write conclusion? Please see. Let us see. Plato's theory of forms laid the foundation for metaphysics. So this is very important, because you have to tell the importance. So most of the metaphysics, either criticism you can say or support you can say, particularly Western philosophy, is based on Plato's theory of forms. but Western, Indian, and scientific perspectives challenge its validity. While essentialist ideas persist, modern thought suggests that reality is dynamic, relational, and context dependent rather than an unchanging word of forms. So, with this conclusion, we can end the our answer. So, I mean, what I want to say is this is what this is how we can write or we can deal with question like this. Now, if theory of forms questions can be asked in different ways, I mean, as I have all told, same topics, almost same content, if different ways questions are asked, it has to be, answer has to be accordingly tuned or fine-tuned differently. So this we should understand. So basically, this is what I have to say regarding the model answer. Now, if you uh, come to this week's topic, because this is what we have now completed last week, Plato and model answer on Plato. Now we'll come to Aristotle. And then in the end, we will see what questions of the third week we will try to do. So now let us see the Aristotle. What now, while going through the Aristotle, what I will do is first we will let us understand what are the topics which are of very importance for Aristotle. So before I come to Aristotle, let me show earlier what this also earlier I have shown, but just to make it understand how things. I mean, how what is the syllabus? What we have to read. So let us see. Syllabus of the paper 1. Uh, See, philosophy paper 1 syllabus. If you see Plato and Aristotle, Plato we have already gone through, but both ideas, substances, form and matter, causation, actuality, and potentiality. These are the topics given or subtopics given in Plato and Aristotle. This is our syllabus, philosophy syllabus for UPSC. Now, what are the questions which have come? Pertaining to these. Earlier also I have shown it. I'm just repeating because just to remind, because every time whenever you study any topic, you have to keep in mind what are the topics or subtopics we need to study and what are the questions have been asked, and accordingly our preparation should be there. So let me explain the tell you the questions. Uh, See, these are the topic wise questions. As I already told, for 12 years questions we have analyzed. So these are the questions asked on Plato and Aristotle. Basically, there are 15 questions on different topics, 5, 6 topics. And after analyzing this syllabus and these questions, PYQs, what we have arrived at, what are the important topics for philosophy, particularly Plato and Aristotle. This last week also I have shown that. So Plato, all the three we have already read. Now, what are the Aristotle topics? One is Aristotle's doctrine of form and matter. Another is theory of causation. Another is potentiality and actuality. And then these are not separate topics, but these are already connected topics, because whatever is described in theory of form and matter, same thing in a different way. This question has been asked. So I have put it here as a seventh, but this is same in a way. Form and matter and universal exist in particular. I mean, the content will be almost same. It will be only tuned to this answer. Then while Plato's metaphysics is visionary, Aristotle's metaphysics is descriptive. This also, because Plato's metaphysics you have read and Aristotle's metaphysics you are going to read, and then you have to compare actually both the philosophers' metaphysics. So these two questions are basically repetition of the earlier topics, uh, these topics which we have gone through. So therefore, actually, Aristotle also mainly three topics are there: form and matter, causation, potentiality, and actuality. So while studying Aristotle, we will keep in mind this, and while Plato and Aristotle both will keep these 8 topics in mind. So now let us go to Aristotle now with this background. See, the first general thing is there, so it's not that, but just we should understand that Aristotle was a disciple, student of Plato. Uh, he uh, he was also tutor to Alexander the Great. If some of you already know the history, he basically uh, has covered many subjects: logic, ethics, political science, biology, physics, and metaphysics. So basically, he was an empirical philosopher. If you see, uh, we'll describe later on also what are the differences between Plato's philosophy and Aristotle's philosophy, because this will give you just an idea okay, how what are the views of Aristotle vis-a-vis Plato. So, for example, if you see the differences, Plato philosophy, reality consists of eternal, unchanging forms, that is ideas, and the material world is just an imperfect copy. We have just now we have understood what is again. I mean, repeatedly. I mean, last week also we understood that. Today again in the model answer, same thing we discussed that Plato's philosophy is that eternal, unchanging forms are real, and material world is an imperfect copy of that. What is Aristotle philosophy? Reality is dynamic and based on change. He argued that forms do not exist independently but are embedded in particular objects. So this is Plato's basically metaphysics, if you can say. What Aristotle says, what Plato say, both are different. Now, what is Plato's theory of knowledge? Knowledge comes from rational insight into the world of ideas. So basically, Plato's theory of forms or theory of ideas is basic. I mean, basis for not only metaphysics but his epistemology also. That is theory of knowledge also. What is Aristotle's theory of knowledge? Knowledge comes from sensory experience, careful observation, and logical reasoning. That is empiricism. I mean, Aristotle leans towards empiricism, whereas Plato leans towards rationalism, or if you can say idealism, basically. Not rationalism, idealism. So, if you see both Plato and Aristotle, if you in tabular form, if you see reality for Plato is static based on unchanging forms. For Aristotle, it's dynamic based on empirical observation. Forms, they exist independently, that is idealism, exist within objects, that is realism. So, Aristotle is realist philosopher, empirical philosopher, and Plato is idealist philosopher. He embraces idealism. Knowledge derived from rational insight, knowledge derived from experience and logic. This is what Aristotle says. Plato's focus was mathematics and abstract ideas. Aristotle's focus was biology, physics, and political science. So basically, this is if you can understand both Plato and Aristotle, how are in comparison to each other, what are their views and how both are different or similar to each other. This is what we are understanding till now. We have understood till now. Now, the important question, this question has been asked also several times. Aristotle's concept of substance, that is his doctrine, that is Aristotle's doctrine of form and matter. So, if you remember, there is Plato's doctrine of form or theory of forms. For Aristotle, is doctrine of form and matter. Aristotle's concept of substance is central to his metaphysics, just like Plato also. For Plato also, it's central to metaphysics, representing a departure from Plato's theory of independent forms. We have understood that theory of independent forms is not supported by Aristotle. Aristotle says that any substance is composite of both form and matter. So it's not that form is something different and matter is something different. And what Plato says that matter or physical objects are imperfect copy of the forms. What Aristotle says, no, a substance is composite of both form and matter. Both form and matter together make substance. So what he says, form and matter are inseparable in real objects. This is what is Aristotle's view. Aristotle defines substance as that which exists in itself and not in another. So this is what the definition he has given, which unlike accidental properties, color, shape, and size, substance is fundamental reality that underlies an object's existence and identity. So basically, if you see Aristotle's composition of substance, you will understand what Aristotle says in detail. So composition of substance, Aristotle's composition of substance or concept of substance consists of three essential components. One is form, another is matter, and third is accidental, that is accidental properties. So form, this is defining nature of the or essence basically. What Plato also says, universal essence. So Aristotle also agrees that yes, form is there, that defines the essence of the thing, uh, provides structure and function. Without form, matter remains an undefined potentiality. Then there is a matter. So form is there, matter is there. This is physical material, underlying substance that takes on form. Then third is accidental qualities and relations, accidentality, non-essential attributes such as color, size, and weight. So if one example is given, so for example of gold statue. Here matter is gold, form is the statue shape, and accident, weight, color, and size. These are accidental properties. Thus, neither form nor neither matter nor form exists independently. Rather, reality consists of formed matter. Formed matter. So this is called hylomorphism. So this term also you can remember. This is Greek term again. Hylomorphism means formed matter. Both matter and form combined together makes a substance. Now, what are the criticisms of Aristotle's substance theory? Because now, till now, we have described in brief what is the Aristotle's theory of form and matter, or Aristotle's substance theory. Again, I will tell you, theory of form and matter and theory of substance is both same. So we cannot confuse. So Aristotle's substance theory or Aristotle's form and matter theory, both are same, only wordings are different. Now, what are the criticisms? It lacks empirical bias, because in practice we don't observe those things. Distinction between form and matter is metaphysical and cannot be directly observed or tested, making it less compatible with modern scientific methodology. So it cannot be tested by modern science, it cannot be observed by anybody. So this becomes a very metaphysical kind of concept, and it's not very open for testing. Now, problem of change. Aristotle argues that substance persists while form changes, but this does not fully explain transformations where both material composition and essence seems to shift, such as in chemical reactions. So, problem of change is, basically, again, modern science. In chemical reactions, the both form and nature and this thing changes, and this is not explained by Aristotle's theory of form and matter. So then third is vagueness of form. Aristotle's notion of forms remains unclear. Does it refer to structure? Does it refer to function or something more abstract? This lack of precision weakens its explanatory power. So again, it's vague. This theory is vague. What modern philosophers say, or philosophical perspectives, medieval and modern philosophers, what they say? See, Thomas Aquinas integrated Aristotle's hylomorphism into Christian theology, applying it to both physical and spiritual beings. So he basically, in a way, supported Aristotle. Then Avicenna and Maimonides expanded Aristotle's ideas, distinguishing between essence, what a thing is, and existence, that a thing is. Essence and existence both. Now, what early modern critics, modern philosophers say, particularly rationalists, Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz, Descartes says, propose substance dualism, mind and body. He told that mind and body are two separate substances and two are the original substances. So, unity of form and matter is not agreed by Descartes also. Spinoza goes for monism. Because next week we are going to take up the rationalist philosophers, Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz. So we will understand all these things clearly. But what Spinoza says, he goes for monism. He says there is only one substance, that is God or nature. There is no other original substance. Leibniz, his third rationalist philosopher, he says he introduced the concept of monads. He told that reality is so many. It's not one or two or three, but it's so many. So self-contained units of reality, large number of units are there. What empiricism and idealism says, empiricists like Locke, Berkeley, and Hume, basically they straightway reject, because Locke says he admitted that cannot fully understand substance. So basically part of it he agreed, part of it he rejected. Berkeley rejected material substance entirely, arguing that only perceptions exist. Hume denied the need for substance, viewing objects as mere collection of properties. Similarly, Kant and Hegel, journalism, basically German idealism, and Kant argued that substance is a necessary mental category but does not necessarily exist independently. Hegel rejected fixed substances, emphasizing dialectical process. Hegel's dialectical process is again a very uh, important questions comes in. I mean, almost every alternate year, it's they are asking, or sometimes continuously for 2 3 years also they are asking. Process philosophy, this is again modern philosophy. Process philosophy, uh, North Whitehead, he criticized static notions of substance, proposing that reality consists of processes and events rather than fixed entities. Then existentialism and phenomenology, that is Heidegger and Sartre. Sartre rejected essentialism, as we have already in Plato's theory of forms criticism. Also, we have seen he gave a statement: existence precedes essence, and Heidegger is he argued that being is more fundamental than substance. So, being is more fundamental than substance, and existence precedes essence. What is Indian perspective? Because as I have already told, in every question, if there is parallels can be drawn to Indian or Western, that also we should not leave. So what Indian philosophers say regarding the form and matter, particularly Aristotle's theory of form and matter. See, Nyaya Vaisesik proposed an atomistic views. I mean, if you some people might have already gone through, or will again, when we study the Indian philosophy, we will be understanding. They proposed an atomistic view where fundamental substances exist as real entities. Advaita Vedanta rejected substance duality, positing that Brahma is the only ultimate reality, and this whole world is Maya or illusion. Sankhya, again, Sankhya and Yoga, both, I mean, systems, dual systems, they propose dualistic system where Purusha and Prakriti are two independent realities. Buddhism argued that all substances are empty, or Sunyata, they gave a doctrine of Sunyata, challenging the notion of intrinsic existence. So basically, Nyaya Vaisesik, Advaita Vedanta, Sankhya, Buddhism. So these four are in some way comparable with what Plato told, either supporting that or criticizing that. Now, what are these modern scientific perspectives? Because this again a very important part, because we are in a modern world and we know I mean, if you all of you may be aware that philosophy is not something which promotes blind acceptance of any ideas or thinking. So if something is challenged by modern science and modern technology, that also we should incorporate in our answers. At least we should write. So it's not the rigidity, or it's not the fundamentalist, or it's not the basically uh, there is no philosophical idea which has not been criticized. So if it is wrong, it has been criticized by modern philosophers, it has been criticized by modern scientists, technologists. So we should also incorporate in our answers briefly the view pertaining to modern science and technology. So what physics and chemistry says? Matter is composed of atom and subatomic particles. Some of you maybe already might have studied science, so you know electron, proton, and atoms and molecules, all those things. So matter is composed of atomic and subatomic particles, challenging Aristotle's notion of matter as potentiality. So similarly, quantum physics suggest. I told you you have to also quote the names of scientists and philosophers. So if you what has been written in bracket is basically the name, which is for example quantum mechanics. The renowned name is Heisenberg. Relativity, very renowned, theory of relativity given by Einstein. So these philosophers' name also is equally important. We have to quote in our answers, because unless we do that, our depth of our answers will not be understood by the concerned examiner. So not only that theory you have to write, but also you have to quote various phrases, sentences, technical words, and also the names of the philosophers or scientists. So what quantum mechanics says, matter exists as a probability waves, undermining, they also are not in tune with what Aristotle told. Relativity, what Einstein told, demonstrate that mass and energy are fluid, not static substances. Neurosciences, what neuroscience says, suggests that identity and consciousness emerge from complex networks rather than a fixed substance. So basically, if you see this kind of criticism, and then you come to a conclusion. Aristotle's hylomorphic doctrine, hylomorphism, I have already told, is same theory of form and matter, or theory of or doctrine of hylomorphism. I mean, different ways the same question can be asked. So you should be ready to tackle it. So Aristotle's hylomorphic doctrine remains foundational concept in metaphysics, and it has influenced so many thinkers, philosophers. But if you have gone through already the criticism, this is a brief of that. Medieval thinkers modified it within theological frameworks. For example, medieval thinkers, if you see uh, Thomas Aquinas and Avicenna and uh, Maimonides, then if you modern philosophers challenge it in favor of empiricism, idealism, and process-based theories. Indian philosophy offered different alternative views, with some schools supporting and others rejecting the notion of fixed substances. Scientific advancements in physics and chemistry, neuroscience have rendered the classical notion of substance less relevant to the contemporary explanations of reality. So while Aristotle's theory of form and matter provided a groundbreaking framework in ancient philosophy, it continues to be questioned and revised in light of new philosophical and scientific insights. So, if we conclude like this, any question pertaining to Aristotle's theory of form and matter, hylomorphism, or substance, we can deal in a very comprehensive manner. Now, there is Aristotle's theory of causation. This is again an important topic pertaining to Aristotle. We have seen just now what are the important topics. This is also one of the important topics. Aristotle's theory of causation. Now, what Aristotle has given, I mean, in his theory of causation, I mean, his theory is different. I mean, usually in science, we study cause and effect. One cause is there, effect is there. What Aristotle says, there are four causes. Four causes provide framework for understanding not just physical transformation, but also fundamental reasons behind the object's existence. So, this approach is known as teleology, which suggests that everything has a purpose and end goal or final cause. So basically, his theory of causation depends on or gives four causes. Aristotle proposed a holistic approach. It's not a linear sequence of cause as viewed by modern scientific views. So if you see my notes, you will understand the actual words, phrases, etc., which you need to underline in your answer is given in bold forms, because then examiner will be automatically attracted towards the answer, and he will try to read, and he will also understand that you have depth of knowledge and therefore presenting the whole thing. So basically, if you see Aristotle's theory of causation is not linear as modern science says. He has given a holistic approach, and his theory is basically teleological and purpose or goal based. And he has given four causes basically. Aristotle, therefore, it is also told Aristotle's theory of four causes or theory of causation. So, in any way, question can be asked. So, now what are the four causes? Now, let us understand. See, first one is material cause. Then second is efficient cause. Third is formal cause, and fourth is final cause. So these are basically four causes. Examples are also given. So if we understand, we will go example, then we will also, for example, a bronze statue is made of bronze. A wooden chair is made of wood, and clay pot is made of clay. So here bronze, wood, or clay are the material causes basically. What Aristotle says that these are the material causes, that is substance or matter from which that physical object is being made, physical substance. So this refers to physical substance. What is efficient cause? Efficient cause is the basically force, action, or process which changes or which modifies the substance or matter or the physical object. So, for example, a sculptor is the efficient cause of statue. Carpenter is the efficient cause for chair. Similarly, potter is the efficient cause for the pot. What is the formal cause? Structure or essence. Formal cause represents design, shape, or defining characteristics of the object. So, for example, a sculpture is there, so there is some shape or some this thing, that is formal cause, or chair design or pottery design. So these are the formal causes. What is final cause? The purpose or end goal. Final cause refers to purpose for which something exists. So this is his final cause. For example, a chair exists for purpose of sitting and knife exists for cutting, something cutting. So basically, this is the final cause. Now, definitely, I mean, this kind of causation theory is severely criticized also. Uh, so Aristotle's theory has been highly influential, but faced criticism, particularly from modern science and philosophy. So what are the criticisms of this theory? If you see, modern science largely rejects teleology. The idea that natural things have inherent purposes, evolutionary biology, for instance, explain the development of traits through random mutations and survival advantages. All of us might have heard Darwin's theory of evolution. So basically, it's not that teleology, some purpose is there. I mean, things evolve basically. So uh, scientific theories, they basically do not believe in final cause. What Aristotle says is final cause. For example, birds did not develop wings for the purpose of flying. Instead, wings evolved gradually through natural selection, improving survival chances. So biologists like Richard Dawkins argues that natural selection operates without foresight, making Aristotle's final cause irrelevant in biology. So this is modern scientific objection to final cause. What are the philosophical criticisms? Cause and effect are not always clear. For example, David Hume, what he says, uh, we only observe events happening sequentially but never directly perceive a causal link. This challenges Aristotle's structured classification of causes. Similarly, Bertrand Russell, criticized Aristotle's reliance on purpose, calling it anthropocentric, imposing human reasoning onto nature. So basically, these two philosophers, modern philosophers, have criticized in different, with different logic, with different argument. We should understand that. Uh, Example also is given. I mean, a river does not exist to provide water for humans. It exists due to geological and hydrological processes. So there's no teleology involved in this. That's what we should understand. What is Indian view of Indian philosophical view on causation? We will study in Indian philosophy because these are very important questions. Satkaryavad and Asatkaryavad. Different philosophical schools, Indian philosophical schools, have advocated these theories of causations. Uh, so part of it supports it, part of it differs also. Some of which resemble aspects of uh, uh, Aristotle's four causes, while others offer alternative explanations. Now, what are the two theories of the Indian philosophy of regarding causation? One is Satkaryavad, another is Asatkaryavad. Satkaryavad says that theory of pre-existent effect, similar to material and formal causes, that already there is some pre-existent uh, cause which develops in the article or item or the pot or the chair or whatever you can say. This is supported by Sankhya school mainly. uh, that effect is already inherent in the cause. So this is called Satkaryavad. A clay pot is already present in unmanifested form within the clay before it is shaped. So this view contrasts with Aristotle's efficient cause because it assumes that creation is transformation of existing matter, not the production of something entirely new. What is Asat Karyavad? Asat Karyavad is theory of non-existent effect. There is something new is developed after causation. So Nyaya Vaisesik basically are the propounders of Asat Karyavad. They say that a potter creates a pot from clay, but the pot did not pre-exist in any form before the potter's action. This aligns Aristotle's efficient cause, emphasizing the role of external agent in bringing things into being. So basically, Asatkaryavad and Satkaryavad, represented by Sankhya and Nyaya Vaisesik, they partly resemble Aristotle, partly reject Aristotle's idea of four causation or theory of four causes. Advait Vedanta, ultimate cause is Brahma. We know, I mean, because he has given a theory of Brahma. So he says it's beyond Aristotle's causes. He again word is illusion, illusory. It's a Maya, a temporary manifestation of higher reality, that is Brahma. The existence of wooden chair is temporary and dependent on deeper reality. So this is what Shankaracharya told. Um, uh, and he rejects the teleology in material words and focuses on transcendental issues. So material word for him is illusion, basically illusory. Buddhist view, Buddhists have given a dependent theory of causation, that is dependent origination, pratyut samutpad. This again we will, when we study Buddhism in detail, some of you might have already gone through, so you may be knowing. Uh, what Buddhists say, everything arises due to interdependent conditions rather than single cause. So interdependency is promoted, that is pratyut samutpad. Dependent origination is advocated by Buddhism. So basically, I mean, Buddhists also reject Aristotle's final cause because nothing has an inherent purpose. Everything exists due to conditions and disappears when these conditions change. This aligns with modern physics. Actually, Buddhism is basically more with aligns with modern physics systems thinking that there are no single causes dominant. What are the conclusions of this whole theory of causation? Aristotle four causes have shaped Western thought on causation, science, and philosophy. However, modern science rejects teleology, favoring mechanistic and probabilistic models of causation. Western critics, Bacon, Newton, Hume, Russell, Popper, and Dawkins, argue against final cause. Indian schools have different theories again. Uh, some, like Sankhya and Nyaya, accept material and efficient cause. Advaita Vedanta sees universe as illusory. Buddhism, interdependent causation. So basically, while Aristotle's framework remains relevant to metaphysics ethics, there is huge criticism from modern science, Indian philosophies, uh, and provides broader dynamic views on causation, often rejecting the idea of an inherent purpose, final cause. So this is what we understand by theory of causation. Now, uh, this metaphysics of the Aristotle we will study in a very brief, because direct questions are usually not asked from that, because related questions are asked. So metaphysics and prime mover. So just we can just go through very briefly. Uh, Aristotle rejected Plato's idealism. We have just now discussed. Plato's idealism is, again I will repeat, forms are the real, ideas are real for Plato. So that was rejected by Aristotle. Uh, Instead, Aristotle believed that universe operates according to rational principles. Some teleology is there. Aristotle proposed that everything in the universe is in a state of motion or change, and there must be some ultimate cause, and that is unmoved and that moves everything. So ultimate cause is called prime mover or actus purus. So this is theory of prime mover by the Aristotle. He says that for ultimate cause there has to be some prime mover, and his prime mover is God. So pure actuality, he is a pure actuality, no potentiality, and final cause of everything, and ultimate reason why things move and change. So this is what Aristotle philosophy. In Aristotle philosophy, the place of God, that is prime mover. Now, next is the doctrine of potentiality and actuality. This is again important thing. I mean, again, the questions have been asked on doctrine of potentiality and actuality, and this is also called doctrine of unfoldment. So this is again important. So we will try to understand this. What is the doctrine of potentiality and actuality, or doctrine of unfoldment? Aristotle's doctrine of potentiality and actuality explains how things transition from possibility, that is potentiality, to full realization. So as name it says, itself suggests, from possibility to full realization, that is actuality. So we have already discussed earlier also, because in theory of causation also, if some potentiality is there, it has to be realized in actuality. So in metaphysics, I mean, basically this is the basis of metaphysics also. which offers a framework for understanding change, development, and purpose in nature and human life. So because of this, only change occurs. His theory has influenced Western philosophy, theology, and Indian thought also, though it faces significant criticism. So what are the examples? We will understand this theory of actuality and potentiality through example. For example, a seed exemplifies Aristotle's doctrine. A seed is potentially a tree. Basically, seed develops into a tree. So seed is potentially a tree. It holds the capacity to grow. With nourishment and time, it actualizes into tree. Once mature, it has fulfilled its potential. So what this is what Aristotle says, that I mean, what Aristotle doctrine of potentiality and actuality. If some uh, thing is there, it has potential to develop to something. And once it develops fully or its potential is realized, it has fulfilled its potential. This applies beyond biology to intellectual, moral, and artistic growth as well. So Aristotle's theory is not only biological, it's not only for seed or it's not only for some biological element, but it's also for intellect, for morals, and for artistic growth also. What are the key concepts in Aristotle's theory of potentiality? Potentiality, what something can become, is called potentiality. What something can become, but it has not still realized, it has not still become. For example, a child can become a scientist. So child is potentially a scientist. It has not become a scientist. So similarly, a seed has potential to become tree. So seed has potentiality of becoming tree. So this is called potentiality. In examples, we can understand. What is actuality? The realization of that potential. A trained scientist has actualized its knowledge. For example, a tree has actualized its knowledge, its potential of seed. See, seed, when seed becomes tree, it has actualized its potential. So this is actuality. Process of change. Beings progress towards actualization, guided by their inner nature. So what Aristotle says, that beings, all things, beings, human beings, or even all materials progress towards actualization. A seed is there, it progresses towards becoming tree. So this is what he calls process of change. I mean, because of this process of change comes into being. Now, he makes a hierarchy of the things. What is the fully actualized or fully potential thing? What are only potential, and what is in progress from potentiality to actuality? For example, he says pure form or God or unmoved mover is fully actualized and it has no potentiality because it has already actualized whatever it needs to actualize. Living beings, for example, humans, animals, and plants, they are progressing from potentiality to actuality. So they still need to further uh, move forward, but they have already moved apart. Pure matter has only potential but requires form to be actualized. So these are three categorizations he classifies based on degrees of actualization, basically. Hierarchy of being. What are the criticisms of Aristotle's doctrine? Let us understand. Lack of empirical evidence. Modern science does not believe in this kind of potential actuality. Aristotle's goal-directed change, that is teleology, lacks scientific backing. Science is very clear that there is no teleology, there is no purpose-oriented development or growth as advocated by Aristotle. Evolutionary biology, Darwin, I have already told, theory of evolution contradicts Aristotle's belief in natural progression towards an ideal form. Natural selection shows species change due to random mutations and adaptations, not striving toward an inherent actualization. So this is again a very important, and this is correct finding of the Darwin theory of evolution, which is already proven theory. Change is driven by survival, not pre-existing potential. This also we should understand. So if Aristotle says that lower form or the lower beings progress towards higher being in a natural teleological manner, that is not going to be correct. So physics, what physics says, Newton and Einstein's rejection of theory of Aristotle believed motion results from internal striving towards actuality. Newton's laws of motion and Einstein's theory of relativity disprove this, showing that motion occurs without inherent teleology. Change is often caused by external forces, not innate drive. Quantum mechanics again is not favoring what Aristotle is telling. So this also we should understand in brief. For quantum mechanics, the reality is probabilistic, not deterministic. What philosophical criticism? What are the other criticisms? The problem of infinite regression. See, Aristotle says that there is a prime mover. So Aristotle claims that each potential has to be actualized by something already actual, leading to first cause, that is prime mover. Now, David Hume, he says that by this, causality may not require an absolute beginning. Buddhist, again, Buddhism has given different theory of causation. So there is no teleology involved. There is interdependence. There is dependent origination. Then essentialism and existentialism. Aristotle assumes that all things have a predefined essence, but Sartre and Heidegger, they reject that in different ways. This we have already earlier questions also, earlier topics also, we have gone through this. So this also again needs to be mentioned here also. So human identity evolves dynamically, not toward a fixed essence. Then Indian philosophical criticisms, Vedanta's challenge, reality is already fully actualized in Brahma. Then Buddhism, no fixed potentiality, impermanence and emptiness. Then Jainism, multiplicity of potentialities. Then artificial intelligence and technological critics. So basically what I want to say is modern science, what they say, that we need to mention and that we need to understand also. Then Indian philosophical comparison we need to bring here. So what Advaita Vedanta says, what Buddhism says, and what is said by Jainism. So this also partly, if we see, they agree to that, partly they disagree, and therefore we need to mention that. Uh, Later thinkers, what influence on the Aristotle's view have inspired major philosophical systems. Hegel, Spinoza, Aquinas. For example, Hegel's dialectical process, again, very important topic in Hegel, mirrors potential to actual movement. Spinoza views reality as self-unfolding system. Aquinas adopts Aristotle's ideas to Christian theology, arguing that God is pure actuality. So there is a lot of impact of Aristotle philosophies on various thinkers, but there is a severe criticism from modern science, modern philosophers, and even Indian philosophy parallels are there in Indian philosophy. What are the strengths of Aristotle's doctrine? Provides a structured explanation of change, influences Western and Indian metaphysics, anticipates self-actualization theories. What are the weaknesses? Refuted by evolution, quantum mechanics, and relativity, opposed by existentialism and Indian non-dualism, fails to account for multiple actualization pathways. Thus, even though influential, it is opposed by modern science, existentialism, Indian thought, showing that change is not fixed but dynamic and multidirectional. So basically, with this, we conclude with 3-4 topics which are very important in Aristotle and which we should uh, study in detail. There are 1 or 2 topics which we have already studied in brief also. For example, background, then difference between Aristotle and Plato, and then Aristotle's prime mover metaphysics. So now we'll come to, after this, we'll come to the question of the week. What question we want to. Now, this week I want to discuss, I want to give you for practice 2 questions. One is a universal exists only in particular. This is a statement given by Aristotle. As I told, this is theory of substance, in a way, theory of substance. So this is theory of substance or theory of form and matter in different words, if you can say. So this question, we will you need to write the answer, and if you want, you can send to me for the evaluation. I will evaluate and again get it back to you. We will discuss this model answer for this next week. Then second question I want to give to you is, while Plato's metaphysics is revisionary one, Aristotle's metaphysics is descriptive one. These 2 questions have been asked 2-3 times in different years, in different ways in the exam. So both you have to write in 400 words. Again, I am repeating, interested candidates may send their answers PDF for evaluation and further discussions on this email ID. These two questions we will be discussing. Model answers we will be discussing next week. And next week we will start rationalism, that is Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz. Now, this mail ID, I am again telling all of you, if anybody wants to ask anything pertaining to this optional, want to send me the model answers which they have written for evaluation, you can send your views or comments or queries on this mail ID. I will be replying. Now, we'll just unshare, and if anybody wants to ask anything. So if anybody wants to ask anything, he may just raise hand, because we'll just answer, and then we'll close. Because from my side, I'm done as far as the today's this thing is concerned. Okay, who has raised hand? Yeah, somebody I think has raised. Yeah, Astosh Mishra, you want to ask something? Batao.
Yes, sir. Sir, at the start, can we say Plato as a subset of idealism?
See, uh, seeds of idealism are definitely there in Plato. I mean, Plato is the idealist philosopher anyway. But
Hmm.
idealism culmination, if you see, will be if you see in basically in Hegel, because he has taken the Plato's theory and culminated the whole thing. But yes, it's there because he is essentialist, he is idealist, and his theory of form itself means, in a way, big way, it means that he is an idealist philosopher. And Aristotle is partly empirical, partly idealist. He also doesn't reject the theory of forms fully. He only
Hmm.
says ki form and substance are basically together. So form does exist, but yes, it's not separate as told by Plato. Yeah,
Like independently, it is not as it, but inside object. So
yeah,
can like in the example, clay pot,
yeah,
pot is there as a material, but clay is a material, but pot is the functional or what we can say ideal way of this existence.
yeah. No, actually, shape of the pot is basically form as per the
Hmm.
Aristotle, and the pot, for example, the clay is the
Material.
material, and the shape of is the pot is the form, and that's what Aristotle says. What Plato says, no, no, it's the whole clay or the pot itself is some imperfect copy of some part which is available somewhere. I mean, ideal form which is available. So that's what Plato says. So like that you can.
Like in the Plato, sir, physical form including physical everything, right? Physical everything we can see from sensory. So it was below and cheap copy of the higher form or true form, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in the Plato, we have the form, but it is not the same form. Like even though like Plato form, right? Because
yeah,
Plato is completely rejected the physical form,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You are right. Yeah, you are right.
So in the Aristotle, we have a physical form, and the
Yeah,
Plato, we have a higher true form, which is higher real form.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You are
okay.
right.
I mean, there is form, but their form is also very distinct to each other.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
और बताइए, anybody else? See, one more thing I just want to announce. Basically, you can tell other friends also. What I'm proposing is we will start uh, test series for those students who are appearing in this year's mains or preparing up. Basically, you have filled the forms of the prelims and going to appear in this year's mains. This test series will be starting. Test series for philosophy optional will be starting in the month of just after the prelims are over. On 25th May, prelims are there. So just after prelims are over, we will be starting, and that will be again free of cost to everybody. So you can tell other friends also who are appearing philosophy if they are interested, because we will be announcing this sometime next month, in the month of April, along with some forms, etc. So our team will come up, and so this we are going to start in the month of most probably last week of May or first week of June. So there will be some full test series, full length test series, and then part also depending on topic wise. And that will try to evaluate, explain, and will try to uh, see that the students who join that definitely score good marks in the next mains of the, I mean, this year's mains in philosophy optional. So this is just I want to tell all of you. So if anybody interested has already filled the form, etc. of this year's prelims, please do join that. And if your friends are there, also tell them. Uh, Now, if anybody wants to say anything, otherwise I will close, because next week we will be starting and we'll see the model answers for the questions which have been two questions I have given on Aristotle, how to write, and then we will come up with start the chapters of the rationalism. We'll start with Descartes. Again, 2 weeks we will take for rationalism also, because again that is also very very important chapter, topics. Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz we will complete in 2 weeks, and after that we will have empiricism, Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. Uh, with that we will closing again 2 weeks we will take for empiricism also. So basically next 4 weeks we will be devoting on Western philosophy. After that, if we see there is time, we will continue Western philosophy. Otherwise we will jump to Indian philosophy, and remaining topics I will write that the students can study themselves. So this is what I have to say. Now anybody wants to say anything, otherwise I will close.
Sir, sir, there is one question like when we revise like as per like what you have taught, and when we revise by cell after the class, suppose we have some question during the revision, so can we ask something
ये तो मैं बोला ना, वो
after the
मेल
class?
आईडी तो मेल आईडी इसीलिए दिया है ना कि इफ यू वांट टू आस्क एनीथिंग यू कैन सेंड अ मेल टू दैट
हाँ.
मेल इज ओपन बाय मी ओनली, सो आई विल ओपन इट, एंड देन maybe if that is very I mean a question I can discuss in this kind of classes also, or otherwise I can one to one also I can discuss. I have no issue, because तो उसीलिए वो मेल आईडी दिया है कि आप उसमें मेल कर दीजिए, कि मैं सभी से ही कहूँगा कि इफ एनी क्वेश्चन, एनी क्वेरी, एनी कमेंट, एनीथिंग यू वांट टू से, यू कैन जस्ट send a mail on that mail ID which has already been given, and then I will be replying. Because see, the point is, I have gone through so many books of philosophy. See, if you study any book or maybe any notes also of some coachings, etc., part of it will match. But what I am telling is something extra also. Because see, again, my view is very simple. Ki if you don't study something extra and write something extra, how will you score extra marks? But again, the question is, you should not write something which is totally irrelevant. You have to write something which is very, very relevant and very, very brief also, because you cannot deviate from the focus of that answer. So yes, you can ask anything, any doubt, etc. And either in these classes you can ask, or you can mail separately also. Hmm?
Sir, mail can you post on the in the WhatsApp?
हाँ, व्हाट्सएप में मैं डालता ही हूँ, पिछली बार भी डाला था, अभी भी डाल दूंगा फिर से, है ना। और ये
Okay, okay.
अभी मैं शेयर जो किया था ना क्वेश्चन का, उसमें वो जो मेल
जी
आईडी
जी.
है, सेम मेल आईडी, या
अच्छा, ओके ओके सर, ठीक है
इट्स सेम मेल
सर,
आईडी।
थैंक यू सर. ओके सर, क्योंकि सर वो थोड़ा रिवीजन के टाइम कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है लाइक
नहीं ठीक है, तो
बिकॉज समथिंग.
then
हाँ,
I agree.
बिकॉज वी.
Yeah, I
हाँ.
agree, and therefore I'm ready for that also. So those things you can mail to me. So with this, I will end this class. Thank you. Thank you.